Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
Day 2 Commodities. Star Destroyer Cannon, low-tier deity level intermediate grade. Quantity, 5 same as before. Price, 10,000 obscure lord shop points. Elementary Sun Energy Shield, low-tier deity level intermediate grade. Quantity, 5 same as before. Price, 10,000 obscure lord shop points. Bluebird low-tier deity level intermediate grade. Quantity, 5 same as before. Price, 10,000 obscure lord shop points. Potential Advancement Potion, low-tier deity level intermediate grade. Quantity, 10 same as before. Price, 1,000 obscure lord shop points. Spacewalker Class Change Certificate, Kingdom Level Soldier Type. Number, 20,000 same as before. Price, 100 obscure lord shop points. Heavenly Knight Class Change Certificate, Imperial Tier Soldier Type. Quantity, 200 same as before. Price, 1,000 obscure lord shop points. Universe Legendary Class Change Certificate, Divine Kingdom Soldier Type. Quantity, 2 same as before. Price, 10,000 obscure lord shop points. God Summoning Scroll, low-tier deity level intermediate grade. Quantity, 1. After using this scroll, you can summon a low-tier deity level intermediate grade god spirit who is completely loyal to you. Price, 10,000 obscure lord shop points. Note, after purchasing all of them, you can obtain mysterious goods. Mysterious goods are formed according to the situation of the Lord of all races. You can obtain goods that meet the needs of the Lord of all races. After reading it, Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows slightly. The merchandise on the second day did not change much compared to the first day. It was mainly because there were more goods that could be bought on the first day. The only change was that there was an additional God Summoning Scroll that could summon a low-tier deity level intermediate grade god spirit. He pondered for a moment before muttering to himself, "This God Summoning Scroll is almost useless to me. However, to the lords of the other races, it's a commodity that can greatly increase their strength. 99% of the lords of the myriad races don't have god spirits. This God Summoning Scroll can allow the current lords of all races to have trillions or even more god spirit level experts. The Supreme Will was really generous." Zhou Zhou sighed with emotion before a smile appeared on his face. If it was the him from yesterday, he wouldn't dare to face trillions of gods head-on even if his military strength and god spirits were 10 times greater. However, after returning from the mysterious auction, he, who had grasped a large number of supreme god realm treasures, was no longer afraid of the gathering of ordinary god spirits. For supreme god realm techniques, no matter how many god spirits below the true god tier level there were, it was impossible for ants to bite an elephant to death. It was just like how no matter how strong the strong people in comics were, it was impossible for them to jump out of the comics and kill the people who read them. The two were not from the same dimension and could not be compared at all. Of course, it was impossible for him to rely on the supreme god realm means to wipe out trillions of god spirits in one go. He was a god who had walked the path of laws, not an ant after all. Venus is already in my hands. There should be many lord factions and local lord factions that want to attack the mortal empire. Coupled with the god summoning scroll that came out today, there should be a large number of god spirits in the active universe. Now that my 10,000 spirit saint is here, I should have a good harvest." Zhou Zhou smiled. Then, he roughly calculated how many obscure lord shop points he would need to spend to buy the second day's goods. In the end, he discovered that he needed a total of 2.39 million obscure lord shop points. 2.39 million obscure lord shop points. That's a lot. I only have 272,750 obscure lord shop points now. However, I have so many master god tier and supreme god realm treasures. It shouldn't be difficult for me to quickly obtain a large number of obscure lord shop points in a short period of time. Zhou Zhou muttered to himself. Then, he took out the Bodhi Supreme and asked the question he had wanted to know the answer to yesterday. "Bodhi Supreme, what are the conditions to enter the secret land of inheritance of the Yellow River token?" Zhou Zhou asked. 3 formal questions. The Bodhi Supreme said solemnly. 3? That many? Zhou Zhou was shocked. In the past, No matter how difficult the problem was, it would at most be resolved with a formal question. What else? This is an inheritance that involves willpower. Giving you an answer with just 3 official questions is basically a steal. The Bodhi Supreme said lazily. Zhou Zhou could not refute. Fine, I'll do it. He finally agreed. Who could resist the temptation of a will-level inheritance? In any case, Zhou Zhou could not tolerate it. After obtaining the Yellow River token, if you want to enter the land of inheritance of the Yellow Springs Will and obtain the inheritance of the Yellow Springs Will, there are actually not 4 conditions, but 6. After Bodhi Supreme received the reward, he immediately gave Zhou Zhou a huge blow. 6 conditions? Zhou Zhou was shocked. Then why did the mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce say 4? The mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce's ability is also limited, but I'm the only one who knows everything. The Bodhi Supreme said proudly. The first condition is defeat the other 3 opponents who are competing with you for the inheritance of the will of the Yellow Spring. Collect their Yellow River tokens and fuse them into the Yellow Spring Sacred Token. This is the key to opening the inheritance of the will of the Yellow Spring. You have to obtain it. Otherwise, you won't be able to open the door to the inheritance. The second condition is to find the Yellow River Slate. The secret language of the Yellow River is engraved on the Yellow River Slate. After opening the door to the land of inheritance, you have to recite the secret language of the Yellow River in your heart in the land of inheritance of the Yellow Rivers will before officially becoming the inheritor of the Yellow River's will. The third condition is to find the Yellow River Emperor's Sword. The Yellow River Emperor's Sword is the Lost Saint artifact of the Yellow River. With it, one can rule the entire Yellow River and become the actual master of the Yellow River. They can even kill all the souls of the Yellow River with a word. It can even reincarnate and save trillions of souls. At the same time, with it, your inheritor's status will increase by another level, and it will be closer to the Yellow River inheritance. The fourth condition is that the inheritor's nomological path must be related to the rules of the Yellow River, such as death, dusk, darkness, reincarnation, soul. Only the gods who walk these nomological paths are qualified to accept the inheritance of the Yellow River's will. With these 4 conditions, you can obtain a pseudo-will inheritance. Gods who have cultivated the inheritance of pseudo-will can at most raise their god spirit realm to the supreme god realm, but they will never be able to raise it to the will realm. Only by completing the last 2 conditions can I obtain the complete Yellow River will level inheritance. The 5th condition is to fight the Illusionist clan and take back the Yellow River. The Illusionist clan. Zhou Zhou muttered this name silently. Was this the mysterious faction that had occupied Yellow River? What a strange name. The 6th condition. Only those who care about all living beings can obtain the final inheritance of the Yellow River's will. Bodhi Supreme said slowly. Those who care about all living beings. Zhou Zhou muttered to himself. You should know where the Yellow River Slate and the Yellow River Emperor's Sword are, right? Zhou Zhou asked. Of course. Bodhi Supreme said matter-of-factly. If you want to know, you can officially answer a question. Zhou Zhou nodded. This way, he would directly satisfy 2 of the 6 conditions. Among the other 4 conditions, defeating the other 3 competitors depended on who it was, so he didn't talk about it for the time being. The 4th condition was that the inheritor's nomological path had to be related to the Yellow River law. This condition was not a problem for Zhou Zhou. He was a Lord-type law god spirit. With the law skill, King, he could possess billions of laws. If he wanted to display any laws, he could directly switch them. The 5th condition was to fight the Illusionist clan and take back the Yellow River. It was a long-term mission, so Zhou Zhou was not in a hurry. As for the 6th condition, it required that the inheritor only cared about all living beings. Zhou Zhou believed that he was a person who treated his subjects well, so it shouldn't be a problem. Looks like obtaining the inheritance of the Yellow River's will is not something that can be done in a day. However, it doesn't matter. I'll try my best to complete these conditions first and obtain the Supreme God Realm inheritance of the Yellow River's will. It's not a loss as long as we can get the Supreme God Realm inheritance, even if we can't get the rest. Zhou Zhou thought to himself. At this moment, boom. An earth-shattering divine power fluctuation suddenly erupted from the direction of the Reincarnation Sacred Palace and quickly spread in all directions. The world suddenly changed color. In particular, the billions of stars in the sky had even turned a demonic dark purple. Amidst the billions of demonic dark purple stars, a dark purple divine kingdom star that emitted a terrifying aura rapidly expanded. Boom, 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 boom. In the blink of an eye, this dark purple star quickly expanded to 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. When it expanded to 10,000 times its size, it slowly stopped growing. At this moment, it appeared especially huge among the stars. Roar. A roar that terrified trillions of life forms in the heavens sounded. It also reminded the billions of life forms of the fear of being ruled by the monster demons. This commotion naturally attracted the attention and shock of the god spirits of the various races. A god spirit has become a master god. This aura is familiar. Oh no, a member of the monster demon clan has become a master god tier. No, this aura. It's the aura of the first-generation monster demon emperor king, Kidotali. Not only has monster demon emperor king Kidotali recovered, he has also recovered to the strength of a master god. Kidotali's revival has been brought forward. Is another disaster coming to the infinite worlds? That's not right. Didn't the common people's regal Zhou Zhou become the monster demon emperor king? Then there's only one possibility. The former monster demon emperor king, Kidotali, was revived by Zhou Zhou, and with his help, he recovered his master god tier strength. Otherwise, if Zhou Zhou didn't allow it, the monster demons wouldn't have been able to recover their master god tier strength by themselves. The common people's regal wouldn't let Kidotali revive in advance for no reason and help him recover to the strength of a master god tier. However, combined with Zhou Zhou's current identity, I think I've already guessed the reason. Kidotali might have already submitted to the common people's regal and worked for him. Gasp. Doesn't that mean that the Blazing Sun Empire, which is only a high-level empire now, already has a worshipped master god? This is an expert that only top-notch divine kingdoms can have. Sigh. Now that the common people's regal's Blazing Sun Empire has a true worshipped master god tier, it has completely left the ranks of Lord of all races and officially became a powerful Lord faction. It's too late to kill him now. The other party has completely grown up. Wait. How is this possible? At this moment, something else seemed to have happened in the Blazing Sun Empire's territory, causing the god spirits watching from all over the universe to be dumbfounded. A few minutes ago, Zhou Zhou stood in the sky above the Divine Kingdom and looked at the Divine Kingdom phenomenon in the sky. A smile appeared on his face. Kidotali's timing is quite accurate. He said that he would regain his Master God tier elementary grade strength within 2 days. He smiled and muttered to himself. His Blazing Sun Empire eventually had a true Master God tier combat power. As a high-tier deity-level intermediate grade God spirit, he no longer had to forcefully become a Master God tier. Kidotali was a Master God tier expert of the Monster Demon clan and the previous Monster Demon Emperor King. He was naturally stronger than other Master God tier existences. Back then, if there weren't more than one Master God tier attacking Kidotali together, Kidotali wouldn't have died right after he was born. Kidotali, who is now a Master God tier elementary grade, is probably no weaker than a Master God tier intermediate grade. Zhou Zhou thought to himself. At this moment, he appeared to sense something as he looked into the distance. After Kidotali recovered to the Master God tier level, the monster demons who were countless light years away all let out earth-shattering roars in excitement. Amidst the roars, their bodies grew rapidly. At the same time, their auras became stronger, and even the genetic potential hidden in their bodies began to increase rapidly. At this moment, at least thousands of monster demons had been promoted to god spirits, and more than 10 high-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirits had been promoted to true god tier of monster demons. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly when he saw this scene. The reason why master-level experts were called clan, protecting experts. Apart from the fact that they could be stated to be at the peak of the infinite worlds, it was also because of the scene before them. After a main god leveled up, the bloodline of the people who had the same bloodline as a main god leveled up would also undergo a transformation. For example, before the birth of a master god tier, a very average low-grade bloodline race would immediately undergo a bloodline metamorphosis after the birth of a master god tier and become a high-grade bloodline race. If there were multiple master god level experts who came from the same bloodline race, it was very likely that this race would become a top bloodline race comparable to the original spirit race, the chaos gods race, and the shepherd's god race under the impact of the bloodline metamorphosis of many master god tier. For example, the number 1 original spirit race. There were at least 100 master god tier divine level experts in their clan. It was precisely because they had more than 100 master god tier powerhouses that almost all the people in their race were geniuses. Their possibility was not even lower than a low-tier deity level elementary grade. That was why they could steadily sit on the throne of the number 1 race in the myriad worlds for countless years. As for the Chaos Gods race and the Shepherd's God race, even though they were inferior to the original Spirit race, there were definitely more than 50 main God-level experts in the race. Zhou Zhou recalled this information and looked at Kiddo Tali's advancement phenomenon in front of him. His eyes burned with aspiration as he muttered to himself. One day, my human race will also have more than 100, 200, or even 1,000 Master God tier experts. The original Spirit race can be the number 1 race in the myriad worlds. We humans can also be the number 1 race in the infinite worlds. At this moment, the phenomenon in the world slowly returned to normal. The divine kingdom star that was as big as a small sun gradually shrunk and finally became a dark purple star that looked much brighter than the surrounding stars. A dark purple figure flew out of the reincarnation sacred palace and immediately teleported in front of Zhou Zhou. He knelt on one knee respectfully and said, "Greetings, Your Majesty, Kiddo Tali. You really didn't disappoint this emperor." Zhou Zhou chuckled. "If His Majesty hadn't given me so many resources to recover my strength, I wouldn't have recovered so quickly." Kiddo Tali was not proud. At the same time, he felt His Majesty's aura and was secretly alarmed. It had to be known that he had now recovered his strength as an elementary grade Master God tier. With such strength, he was confident that he could protect him and even win against ordinary intermediate level Master God tier powerhouses. However, he could still feel a deep sense of danger from His Majesty. It was as if as long as he dared to attack Zhou Zhou, His Majesty would kill him in an instant. How strong is His Majesty? Even top-notch Master God tier experts don't give me such a strong sense of threat. Could His Majesty be a hidden Supreme God realm expert? But His Majesty is clearly only a high-tier deity-level intermediate grade God spirit. Strange, Kiddo Tali muttered to himself. Then, his expression turned solemn. As a Master God tier, his intuition would most likely not be wrong. That could only prove that His Majesty indeed had methods comparable to the Supreme God realm. At the thought of this, the smugness he felt from recovering his strength as Master God tier elementary grade immediately disappeared without a trace. At the same time, he was even more convinced of His Majesty. He felt that he had made a wise choice back then with such a powerful backer. Your subject Zhang Jiujian's loyalty has increased to 100, and he has become your fanatic believer. Zhou Zhou looked at the loyal Kiddo Tali and then at the text notification in front of him. He couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Kiddo Tali was really strange. When other people's strength increased, they would more or less be a little arrogant. However, not only was he not arrogant, he was even more humble on the surface. The faith in him had even risen to the level of a fanatic believer. Strange. Zhou Zhou muttered in his heart, but he did not mind. This was a good thing after all. Today, I'll hold a celebration for all of you. Congratulations on becoming a Master God and becoming a Master God tier revered elder of our blazing sun empire. Come to this emperor's side first. We'll wait for another excellency. Zhou Zhou smiled faintly. Wait for another excellency? What kind of excellency was worthy of His Majesty's personal waiting? Kiddo Tali was taken aback, but he didn't dare to ask further. He silently came to his side. At the same time, Zheng Yuanqi and the other generals and officials of the Blazing Sun Empire also flew over from all directions to congratulate Kiddo Tali on becoming a Master God. Kiddo Tali was very experienced in greeting and chatting with Zheng Yuanqi and the others. Soon, they became one with each other. One could not tell that this was a monster demon emperor king that made all the life forms in the world tremble in fear. A moment later, boom, an earth-shattering divine might fluctuation erupted from the direction of the reincarnation sacred palace again before quickly spreading in all directions. At the same time, a blood-colored pillar of light erupted from the reincarnation sacred palace and shot towards the starry sky. The abnormal phenomenon of the world that had originally calmed down appeared again. A blood-colored moon rose high into the sky, emitting endless blood-colored moonlight, illuminating the huge starry sky into a blood-colored starry sky. When the gods of the myriad worlds saw this scene, they hurriedly looked towards the source of the divine might. Then, they saw the blood-colored pillar of light that soared into the sky from the blazing sun imperial capital and the reincarnation sacred palace again. The gods and spirits were all stunned. This, two master god tiers in a day. The blazing sun empire is heaven-defying. How can a mere empire produce two worshipped master gods in a day? Normally, only top-notch divine kingdom lord factions would have such a lineup. I didn't expect him to have such a lineup as an empire tier lord faction. It's really ridiculous. As long as the supreme god realm doesn't appear, master god tier is the top powerhouse in the myriad worlds. At this moment, the blazing sun empire has truly risen. The situation of the myriad races in the world is about to change because of this new talent. All the god spirits were discussing fervently. After the original spirit race, the chaos gods race, the shepherd's god race, and other top bloodline races and high-level bloodline races received this news. After experiencing the initial shock, the leaders of these top bloodline races and high-level bloodline races all regarded Zhou Zhou as a great enemy that challenged the status of their race. When the intermediate races and weaker races heard this news, their thoughts also increased. They had long known about the new era brought by the lords of all races. They knew that the person who played the greatest role in the new era was this common people's regal. Now that the common people's regal's power had been strengthened again, it was even comparable to a high-level bloodline race. This was the time of the turn of the era. They chose to watch coldly from the sidelines and only wanted to protect themselves. Or should they choose to take the initiative to join the Blazing Sun Empire and try to overthrow the top bloodline races and high-level bloodline races that had been oppressing them? These races were a little hesitant. No matter which choice they make, once the choice fails, the outcome awaiting them would not be good after all. In the Blazing Sun Imperial Capital, greetings, Your Majesty. After the phenomenon, the Blood Moon Sun, who had officially been promoted to Master God Tier Elementary Grade, approached in front of him and stated respectfully, "Congratulations on becoming a Master God, Blood Moon Sun. You're much faster than this Emperor imagined." Zhou Zhou smiled. Unlike Kiddo Tali had recovered his Master God Tier strength as a new life form. The Blood Moon Sun was actually relying on himself to become a Master God Tier. Zhou Zhou was very surprised that he could successfully advance in one go. "It's all thanks to Your Majesty's help that I was able to successfully advance." The Blood Moon Sun was very grateful to Zhou Zhou. Zhou Zhou smiled faintly and nodded. Then, he gazed up at the stars that filled the sky, as if he could see the gods of all races staring at him. Even though Zhou Zhou didn't know what the outside world was thinking about the birth of two Master God Tiers in his territory, he could roughly guess. However, he didn't mind. All he needed to know was that his influence and strength had become stronger again. His ability to deal with various unexpected situations had also become stronger. Most importantly, with the two Master God Tiers, Kiddo Tali and Blood Moon Sun, around, I can completely include the two of them when I use King. In that case, there's no need for me to become a Moon Demon or wait to become a true God Tier. I can also rely on the strength of these two worshipped Master Gods to directly reach the God Spirit realm. Coupled with top-notch Master God Tier divine artifacts, and even supreme divine artifacts. With my current strength, even the 10 Master God Tiers might not be able to compare to me. Even if it's a supreme God realm, it shouldn't be a problem to escape, right? Zhou Zhou was a little uncertain. At this moment, Zhou Zhou was stunned as a line of magic words suddenly emerged in front of him. What appeared in front of Zhou Zhou was a divine runic formed by magical elements. I'm about to reach the Blazing Sun Empire and serve your majesty. Forbidden Mage Master God, Su Yuan. Su Yuan? Zhou Zhou was stunned as he looked at the statue of the Forbidden Archmage standing tall not far away. Su Yuan is coming to my empire? No. This isn't the most important thing. Most importantly, he actually called himself the Forbidden Mage Master God tier. Su Yuan had actually become a Master God. Zhou Zhou took a deep breath and looked happy. If what the other party said was true, this was probably the first chief god-level existence in the history of the human race, right? Su Yuan had always been a nobody in the entire history of the human race. Unexpectedly, he suddenly made a big deal out of it. What a pleasant surprise. As for why the other party had suddenly come, Zhou Zhou had a faint premonition that the other party might have come because of the faith that his soldiers had contributed to him. Now that you mention it, we humans can now call ourselves a high-level bloodline race. Zhou Zhou smiled. He had just been wondering when his human race would be able to give birth to a master god-tier existence that would allow humans to become a high-level race. Unexpectedly, it was realized in the blink of an eye. Unexpectedly, it was realized in the blink of an eye. Then, after a long while, he retracted his smile. Don't be proud. The myriad worlds are all in the stage of war right now. A high-level bloodline race with only one master god-tier existence is only the weakest high-level bloodline race. He has an advantage in the war between races, but it's not big, so there's nothing to be proud of. When our human race has 10 or even 100 high-level bloodline races that are comparable to top-notch bloodline races, we will truly be able to relax. Zhou Zhou woke up and muttered to himself. But then, he suddenly thought of a problem. That's not right. If we humans give birth to a master god tier and improve our human bloodline, as the master of the human race, why wouldn't I know? He raised his eyebrows slightly. I think I know what's going on. At this moment, Zhou managed suddenly teleported to his side. Zhou Zhou wasn't frightened. What happened? He asked. According to the bloodline inheritance in our minds, when a master god tier is born in a race, the bloodline of the race that comes from the same bloodline as the master god tier will undergo a metamorphosis. The bloodline potential will be strengthened or even promoted. And the fundamental reason for this bloodline metamorphosis is the divine kingdom star. Zhou Manage pointed at the divine kingdom star in the sky. When a master god tier is born, the divine kingdom star will also undergo a qualitative change. The light emitted by the divine kingdom star will illuminate billions of life forms in the myriad worlds. If it's not a race that shares the same bloodline as the master god tier, there won't be any special feeling even if it's illuminated by the light of the divine kingdom stars. However, if a race that shares the same bloodline as the master god tier is illuminated by the starlight of the divine kingdom, their bloodline will slowly strengthen or even advance until the transformation is complete. Forbidden Archmage Su Yuan should have just advanced not long ago. Coupled with the fact that the spread of light requires time, the entire human race has not improved greatly. However, the Supreme Continent is located in the center of the myriad worlds and can receive the light of the Divine Kingdom's stars immediately. Therefore, our human subjects on the Supreme Continent should have already undergone a transformation. That was because I received a memorial the night before yesterday. Some human subjects' potential inexplicably advanced. Even their strength realms broke through. If there are no surprises, it should be influenced by Su Yuan's advancement to Master God tier. Zhou Manage said. Really, how much has his potential increased? Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up and he immediately asked. According to Zero statistics, it's about half a rank. Zhou Manage said. Half a step. Half a level is not bad either. Zhou Zhou smiled when he heard that. The Chaos God's race and Shepherd's God race only allowed their subjects to have the lowest potential to reach the low-tier deity level elementary grade after they had more than 50 Master God tier experts. The first Master God tier of the human race had raised the potential of the entire human race by half a level. It was already a huge increase. What's the lowest potential of our human race now? Zhou Zhou asked curiously. Now, all the humans in the High Continent had joined the Blazing Sun Empire under Zheng Yuanqi's arrangements. Therefore, Zhou Zhou's question about the human race's lowest potential was basically the same as asking about the Blazing Sun Empire's human race's lowest potential. Lowest? Zhou managed smiled and said, white platinum tier elementary grade. So high. Zhou Zhou's eyes widened. Back then, he still remembered the first batch of 10 soldiers that he had summoned back then. Among them, the soldiers with the lowest potential even had black iron tier elementary grade potential. Soldiers with such potential meant that they would never be able to advance after stepping onto the extraordinary tier path. After that, he was overjoyed to obtain a white platinum tier mental potential talent ball. Now, the lowest potential of the entire human race has already reached the white platinum tier elementary grade. My God, what a huge improvement. This doesn't include the increase in Su Yuan's advancement to Master God tier. Otherwise, it should be white platinum tier intermediate grade. Zhou managed sighed. Zhou Zhou nodded. Then, he did some calculations in his heart. The first was the race divine artifact, the Xian Yuan divine sword. It raised the potential of the sword-wielding lord and his subjects by a large level. Next was the extraordinary tier lord talent, heavenly blessed divine bodies, which could increase the potential of the subjects under him. Then, there was the race divine artifact, king of 10,000 kings, lord of the blazing sun, rewarded by the king of 10,000 kings event, allowing the potential of himself and his subjects to increase by a large level. Finally, there was the newly obtained race divine artifact, Venus, which allowed the potential of the entire human race and its subjects to increase by a large level. Under the 4 layers, the lowest potential of the human subjects was directly raised to the white platinum tier elementary grade. It was simply terrifying. This was still not the outcome of many treasures that only targeted the increase in the potential of some subjects. For example, one of the effects of the Yellow Emperor's ancestral statue was to increase the potential of the Blazing Sun Empire subjects. Zhou managed did not count because it was only effective for lifestyle professionals. The lowest potential of a white platinum tier elementary grade. TSK. Just by looking at this data, we humans are already quite strong among the myriad races. Zhou Zhou muttered to himself. Among the myriad races, there were races that could easily give birth to people with high potential. However, their bottom line was also very low. For races like the human race, the lowest potential was lower than the white platinum tier. It could be said to be quite rare. A high lower limit meant that a middle and upper level race expert could be steadily born after all. If the upper limit was high, there was a small chance that a true god tier or even a master god tier expert would be born. However, it was still a small probability and unstable. It was like drawing the lottery. Therefore, compared to the latter, Zhou Zhou, who did not like to draw lottery tickets, actually preferred the former. Oh yes, I'm not here to explain the reason to you. I just want to tell you something else. Zhou managed said. What is it? Zhou Zhou asked casually. He was still thinking about how the lowest potential of the territory's subjects had reached the white platinum tier elementary grade. This made him extremely excited. Emperor Pangu has revived. Zhou managed said. Oh, Emperor Pangu has revived. Zhou Zhou subconsciously nodded. Then, he was suddenly stunned and hurriedly looked at he. Emperor Pangu has revived? Right, where is him now? Zhou Zhou asked expectantly. He had long wanted to meet this leader who had led humanity to rise. Even though he has revived, he hasn't woken up. Zhou managed said. Why isn't he awake? Zhou Zhou frowned slightly. Is it because the divine medicine we prepared for Imperial Lord Pangu is not enough? That's not it. Zhou managed shook his head with a smile. The reason why he hasn't woken up yet is because he was prepared to become a master god tier the moment he woke up. Emperor Pangu is astonishingly talented. Before we came to the higher continent, he could be said to be the most talented human. I think there's a high chance that he can advance to the master god tier level this time. Is that so? Zhou Zhou nodded. Then, a smile appeared on his face. If Imperial Lord Pangu could also become a master god tier, and in addition to the letter that Su Yuan had just sent, then he would have a total of 4 master god tiers in the Blazing Sun Empire. The combat power of 4 clan protecting experts. A lord faction with so many clan guarding experts was not weak even among the factions that had just entered the overlord level. Including myself and my 5 clones. That's the power of the 9 master god-tier lords. Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up. With the combat power of 9 master god tiers and the 10,000 trillion soldiers that he would have in the future, he wouldn't be afraid of even an ordinary overlord-level lord faction. I'm getting stronger and stronger. Maybe I can really try to become the lord of all races. Zhou Zhou muttered to himself. In the past, no matter how strong he was, no matter how much he was ahead of the other lords of the myriad races, he didn't dare to say that. At most, he felt that he was closer to the position of the lord of all races. But now, he really felt that he had the possibility of becoming the lord of all races. This was because his growth speed was a little ridiculous. It was ridiculously strong. Then, he stopped thinking and returned to the reincarnation sacred palace. He closed his eyes and began cultivating. The Cerulean planet. Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu also started the base camp battle the next day. We'll start the base camp defense battle now, Zhou Fight said. A new text notification appeared in front of Zhou Fight as soon as he finished speaking. Match in progress. In less than a second, the words, match successful, appeared. At the same time, a continent with a diameter of 1 light year suddenly appeared 100 kilometers away from Cerulean planet. Under the modification of Zhou Fight and the other god spirits, the Cerulean planet was already hundreds of times larger than the original Cerulean planet. The promotion energy density on the ground had reached the level of a low-tier deity level elementary grade territory. Even some of the blessed lands in the immortal world might not be comparable to the current Cerulean planet. However, compared to the larger Cerulean planet, this continent seemed to be a colossus. Zhou Fight and the rest were naturally not surprised. However, when the natives of the Cerulean planet saw this continent that was more than 6 million times larger than the sun appear not far from Earth, all the humans on the Cerulean planet could not help but feel suffocated and even terrified. When Zhou Marshall saw this scene, he calmly waved his hand and cast a large-scale appeasement spell on all the native humans on the Cerulean planet. Only then did the native humans on the Cerulean planet stop panicking. However, he also looked at this continent in shock, as if he had seen something new. If we hadn't cast a fixed array on the Cerulean planet, our Cerulean planet would have been attracted to this unknown continent the moment it appeared. Bai Yun said with a frown. Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu looked at the match notification that had just appeared. Match successful. The opponent you face is the Sword Spirit clan of the Sword Continent, the Origin Lord. This lord has 1,253,000 hegemony points. This lord has obscure lord shop points, 51,100. The number of consecutive victories of this lord, 2. From now on, you will defend against the enemy's attack until the end of this day or the other party is destroyed. You will obtain victory. Otherwise, you will fail. The base camp defense battle has officially begun. When Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu saw the other party's name, the corners of their mouths twitched. The Origin Lord. What a bold name. In some cultivation systems, this was the title of the highest level cultivator. With this name, wasn't this guy afraid of being cursed by fate and encountering misfortune? At the same time, the Origin Lord on the other side also received the match information. Match successful. Your opponent is the mortal Lord of Earth. This Lord possesses 63, 121, 000, 1,500 hegemony points. This Lord possesses obscure Lord shop points, 500 and 1,100. The number of consecutive victories of this Lord, 2. From currently on, you will attack the enemy's base camp as the offensive party until the end of today and successfully occupy the enemy's base camp. Otherwise, you will be judged to have failed. If your offensive fails, you will automatically lose your status as the Lord of all races. The main camp's offensive battle has officially begun. Origin Lord's expression was originally filled along with confidence. But when he saw the 60 billion hegemony points, his confident face froze. Could this guy be? He immediately opened the rankings and looked at the top position. Then, his face immediately turned extremely pale. It's really a mortal lord. Why am I so unlucky? He muttered to himself. I am the sixth general of the mortal empire, mortal army. Luo Sheng, are you ready to fight us? At this moment, the unparalleled ghost god, Luo Sheng's cold voice sounded from the sky. The Origin Lord looked up and saw Luo Sheng standing in the sky, looking at them coldly. Wait, I surrender. The Origin Lord hurriedly shouted. Oh, a wise choice. Luo Sheng nodded in surprise. Then, he flew towards the Origin Lord alone. Since that's the case, follow me to meet. Swoosh. The Origin Lord's eyes flickered along with resplendent sword light. A sword light flew out, and tens of thousands of thread-like sword chi followed. The sword chi thread. Not only was Luo Sheng not surprised by this, he even smiled. Boom. A three-headed, six-armed ghost god silently appeared behind Luo Sheng. Each of the ghost god's 6 arms had a weapon. When the thousands of sword energies flew over, the ghost god also waved the 6 weapons in an instant, drawing an airtight weapon light. Clang, 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 clang. Under the disbelieving gaze of the Origin Lord, the myriad of sword chi at the realm of his sword chi thread were every blocked. How is that possible? He cried out. With sword chi threads, sword Dao realm, he was absolutely invincible among the younger generation of the sword continent. Even among the lords of the myriad races, they rarely met their match. Now that he had encountered an unknown general of the Blazing Sun Empire, he had actually been easily blocked by the other party. The Origin Lord could not accept it. However, he felt a sense of danger in the next second. Just as he was about to escape, he realized that his perspective had flipped. Then, he saw his headless corpse. A faint voice entered his unconscious brain. His Majesty uttered that you will encounter misfortune if you give this Lord's name. His Majesty was correct because meeting me is your misfortune. The Origin Lord widened his eyes unwillingly and then died completely. The three-headed, six-armed ghost god behind Luo Sheng grinned when it saw this. This continent seems to be helpful for sword cultivation. Put it away and bring it back to the empire. Luo Sheng glanced at the sword continent and ordered. Yes. The forbidden mage and the yellow talisman Dao soldier behind he shouted. Zhou Fight looked at the world rings that Luo Sheng handed to him. There was a vast continent floating in the ring. It was the sword continent. A divine light flashed in his eyes. Then he raised his brows slightly, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. The true form of this land of swords is actually a master god-level intermediate grade divine artifact, 10,000 divine swords. For some reason, the 10,000 divine swords hid itself. After countless years of tempering, it became this vast land of swords. Life forms were born in the land of swords. These life forms were nourished by the invisible sword aura naturally emitted by the 10,000 divine swords. Generations of genetic inheritance passed down, causing these sword spirits to be born with a special physique, the body of a sword spirit. No wonder it's called the Sword Spirit Clan. They're really a race favored by the heavens. Zhou Fight sighed. The sword spirit body was actually not a very strong physique in the myriad worlds. However, it was a pity that every single member of this clan had the body of a sword spirit. This was very shocking. It could only be said that it was indeed worthy of being a master god-tier divine artifact. Even the slightest bit of kindness that it casually emitted could submerge billions of life forms, and it could even extend this blessing to future generations. Zhou Fight did not expect this either. Such a weak opponent could actually give him a master god-tier divine artifact. The myriad races in the world were really filled with opportunities. It all depended on whether he had the ability to obtain it. Then, he conveniently placed the continent into his first treasure vault. As for continuing to let it be the continent for the benefit of future generations, Zhou Zhou naturally did not have such thoughts. This was a master god-tier divine artifact. If he was used well, the impact it could create would be thousands of times greater than that of the Land of Swords. Zhou Fight continued with an offensive battle after that. The opponent he encountered this time was a lord of all races with 3 consecutive victories. Clearly, he had just finished today's offensive battle at the headquarters and wanted to complete the defense battle at the headquarters in one go. Unfortunately, he met Zhou fight and the rest. The other party was very smart. After seeing the name of the mortal empire, he directly said that he wanted to surrender. However, Zhou fight ignored him and eliminated him. What was the use of surrendering in an active universe? Once the guard time was up, the other party would directly teleport back to their territory. Unless he knew the location of the other party's territory, he would never accept the surrender of any opponent. Congratulations, you have defeated the Sura races, Lord Tian Kuei, and obtained the victory of this base camp's offensive battle. You have obtained all the hegemony points and obscure lordship points that the other party has. You have received 10,000 hegemony points and 1,000 obscure lordship points as a reward for defending the base camp. Your latest hegemony points are 63,123,153,900 hegemony points. Your latest obscure lordship points are 721,000. You have completed today's base camp defense battle. You have received 2 consecutive win points. Your current winning streak is 4 points. In the next match, you will be matched with an opponent with at least 4 winning streak points. You have completed all the offensive and defensive battles today. You can now choose to go out and invade the racial territories of other lords to obtain more hegemony points and obscure lordship points. Zhou fight stroked his chin. It seemed that in the upcoming battle, he would only be matched with stronger and stronger opponents. However, this was meaningless to him. This was because no matter how strong the lords of all races were, they were not his match. Leave some soldiers on Cerulean planet. The remaining soldiers will go to the universe with this emperor and conquer all the enemy forces. Zhou fight ordered. The next battle was the highlight. Yes, the soldiers shouted fervently. Time passed quickly. At noon, in the blazing sun imperial capital. In the shrine, Zhou Zhou, who was comprehending the Lord's laws, slowly opened his eyes. Lines of text appeared in front of him. Supreme Sacred Body. You have cultivated the Supreme Sacred Body and awakened the mythical tier, unique talent. The Goddess Tritus Holy Protection. 10 Sacred Blessings. Goddess of Life, Tritus's Holy Protection. Specific Talent Effect 1. Tritus Supreme Blessing. The Goddess of Life, one of the 10 chief gods under the Supreme Will, Tritus, has performed the Supreme Blessing on you and your subjects. Your and your subjects' potential has increased by 1 small level. Specific Talent Effect 2. Limb Restoration. When you and your subjects are mutilated, the mutilated limbs will automatically grow out within 24 hours. Specific Talent Effect 3. Exuberant Life. You and your subjects contain abundant vitality. When you and your subjects are injured, it can greatly increase the speed of recovery. Specific Talent Effect 4. Life Cathedral. Every regional territory under your command will automatically have an additional life cathedral. The subjects under your command can save people by treating illnesses and obtain the favor of the Goddess of Life. There is a 30% chance of changing to a kingdom-level clergyman, a 1% chance of changing to an empire-level clergyman, a life apostle, and a 0.01% chance of changing to a divine kingdom-level clergyman, saint of salvation. Specific Talent Effect 5. Master God's Protection. The development process of your Lord's faction will not be hindered by other Master God-level powerhouses. The Goddess of Life, Tritus, will secretly protect you and your Lord's faction, stopping or killing any Master God-level powerhouses who dare to come and have malicious intentions. Specific Talent Effect 6. Protector of the Divine Kingdom. When your Lord faction advances to the beginner-level Divine Kingdom, the Goddess of Life, Tritus, will automatically join your Lord faction and become a worshipped Master God loyal to you. However, you have to promise her that you will help the Goddess of Life, Tritus, advance to the Supreme God realm in the future. I've finally awakened another mythical tier 1 Lord talent. When Zhou Zhou saw the notification of the Supreme Sacred Body appear in front of him, a smile appeared on his face. After he finished cultivating this morning, he realized that he had not awakened the mythical tier Lord talent. He thought that something had happened. From the looks of it, it was probably just that there was not enough time. Is it the 10 Sacred Blessings Lord talent of Tritus? Zhou Zhou nodded slightly when he saw the specific name of the Lord talent. In this way, After he upgraded the Blazing Sun Empire to a junior divine kingdom, he would have 4 top Master God tier subordinates. War Master God, Terrence. Machina Master God, 0. Wisdom Master God, Top Birth. Goddess of Life, Trides. He obtained 4 of them amongst the 10 Master Gods. Who would it be? After Zhou Zhou's excitement, he began to look at the specific effect of this mythical tier, unique Lord Talent. When he saw the first effect, his eyes couldn't help but light up. The Goddess of Life's 10 sacred blessings can actually increase the potential of my subjects by a small level? That makes sense also. The Goddess of Life is in charge of the Law of Life domain. Her potential is also a part of the Law of Life domain. It's normal to have such an effect. In that case, including Su Yuan becoming a Master God tier and increasing the potential of the human subjects by a small level, wouldn't our human race's lowest potential reach White Platinum tier advanced grade? TSK. He's about to reach Diamond tier elementary grade. Zhou Zhou clicked his tongue. In a race, the lowest potential of the clansmen was Diamond tier elementary grade. Without looking at the upper limit of potential, this was considered rare among the high-level bloodline races of the myriad races in the world. As for Talent Effect 2, Limb Restoration, and Talent Effect 3, Exuberant Life, they were both extremely powerful combat-type Lord talents. Especially for lords like him, who had to lead high-intensity soldiers every day, the innate abilities of these 2 lords could greatly reduce the medical pressure in his territory. In addition, the Life Arc gave the territory's subjects a free resurrection every day. The resurrection altar was built into the Life Arc. In the future, the soldiers under him could fight even more desperately. As for the class advancement ability provided by Lord Talent, it was also quite top-notch. This was especially so for the Divine Kingdom Divine Duty profession, Saint of Salvation, who had a 0.01% chance of changing occupations. Zhou Zhou had never expected this. The probability of 0.01% sounds very low, but I have a huge base. With more than 10 trillion subjects, even if we need to treat illnesses and save people, it shouldn't be a problem to produce a few 100 million Saints of Salvation, right? Zhou Zhou thought happily. Hundreds of millions of Divine Kingdom clergy professions. It was comparable to dozens or even hundreds of trillions of ordinary soldiers. Empire-tier combat professions, such as Forbidden Mages and Yellow Talisman Dao soldiers, could fight 10,000 people alone on the battlefield after all. Divine Kingdom clergy professions should have no problem fighting hundreds of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of people on the battlefield. As for the final protection of the Master God tier and the Guardian of the Divine Kingdom, there was naturally no need to say anything. Not bad, not bad. Zhou Zhou was quite satisfied with the new mythical tier, unique Lord Talent. At this moment, Zhou Zhou suddenly had an inexplicable premonition. He frowned slightly as he made a mental divination. Then he smiled. Qi Xiantian, he suddenly said. As soon as he finished speaking, a handsome figure with a sword on his back appeared in front of him. It was Qi Xiantian. Qi Xiantian had already reached the potential of a Master God tier advanced grade. Coupled with the help of his inheritance and Lord Talent, his strength had already increased to the level of a true God tier advanced grade. He only needed to comprehend his own Sword Dao laws to break through the bottleneck and become a Master Deity, becoming a clan-protecting expert. However, this step was extremely difficult. True God tier had only comprehended the laws of the heavens in the past. As for the Master God tier, he wanted to create his own laws and open a new path for the heavens. The difficulty could be said to have increased by more than 10,000 times. How many top-notch true God tiers had been stuck at this stage for tens of thousands of years, or even hundreds of thousands, or even millions of years, unable to break through? Fortunately, Qi Xiantian had the potential of a top-notch Master God tier. Even though it was also very difficult for him to break through the bottleneck of a Master God tier, compared to other top-notch true gods, the chances were already quite high. Greetings, Your Majesty, Qi Xiantian said respectfully. A great enemy is about to descend. Command all the main combat legions and prepare for battle. Zhou Zhou said calmly. Yes, Your Majesty, Qi Xiantian said with a sharp sword aura. Then, He immediately turned around and flew away. Qi Xiantian has already comprehended the Dharma creation sword and Dharma breaking sword. If I combine the two and walk my own path, I should be able to advance to the Master God tier. Zhou Zhou looked at the other party's back and muttered to himself. The Master God tier path of the Sword Dao laws, or rather, the Master God tier path of all weapons laws, was relatively clear. As long as such cultivators had a certain inheritance, most of them knew which direction they should work in. This was already very good. Unlike some people like the law of fate, the law of space, time, and the law of the five elements, the path of advancement was too profound. Even the high-level bloodline races with many god spirits found it difficult to summarize it for the later generations. Then he raised his right hand, and a racial divine artifact appeared in his palm. It was Venus. These guys got here really quick for you, but that suits me. Zhou Zhou muttered to himself. In the starry sky, hundreds of light years away from the high continent, tens of billions of Titan troops and tens of trillions of allied forces of the various races gathered together. They rode on several god spirit-level cosmic battleships and headed towards the high continent together. Among these cosmic battleships were 10 true god-tier advance-grade cosmic battleships. And among these 10 top-notch true god-tier space battleships, there were actually 10 god-tier exalts. Among the 10 exalt gods, 6 of them were master god tiers from the Titan god race, while the other 4 master god tiers were master god level experts from the vassal races of the Titan god race. In the 6th true god tier advanced grade warship on the left, a Titan master god tier was sitting on the main seat, looking at the supreme continent displayed on the virtual screen in front of him. There were also 9 screens around him that were connected to the other 9 master god tiers. Uriel, my disciple, I've come to avenge you and your father. This time, our Titan god race came all the way here. No matter how capable that common people's regal is, he will only die. This time, he will definitely not be lucky enough to persevere living. Overlord sacrificed to God said softly. His eyes were cold. Another master god tier of the Titan god race sneered through the video call. Now, all the races in the universe are saying that the Lord of the Blazing Sun is going to lead all the races to establish a fresh era in the great cosmos. The myriad races are about to face a reshuffle. High-level races like us will be defeated. Hee, the hope of a fresh era? What a joke. This time, let's show the weaker races. How did the common people's regal, who was like a god in their eyes, fall at the hands of the Titan god race? That's right. Rumors stop at the strong. After destroying the common people's regal and his empire, we have to teach those restless and weak races a lesson. We were too gentle in the past. Those weak races actually want to resist us. They're really impudent. The Master God tiers discussed animatedly. Don't forget our second goal in eliminating the common people's regal this time, to obtain the universal race divine artifact, Venus. The patriarch of the Titan god race, who was also the #1 expert of the Titan god race, uttered calmly. Then, his voice became high-pitched and fanatical. With Venus, we will definitely be able to surpass other high-level bloodline races in the future and become top-notch bloodline races like the original Spirit race, the Chaos Gods race, and the Shepherd's God race. When the moment comes, each Titan can become a god. The prospect will also belong to us. That's right. Ha ha ha, you're making my blood boil. I really look forward to that future. The 6 master god tiers of the Titan god race were extremely excited. They were already closer to the high continent, just as the army of the Titan gods was about to descend upon the high continent. Tens of thousands of spaceships also flew over from the high continent and flew straight in the direction of the Titan god race army. These 10,000 spaceships were led by the 5 Cosmos Emperors. The flag of all stars cover the sun was engraved on the surface of each spaceship. This is the flag of the Blazing Sun Empire. Soon, the Titan spaceships also noticed these spaceships flying towards them. Warning! Found the Blazing Sun Empire's space fleet heading towards our fleet. Should we start counterattacking according to the Sun Extermination Battle Plan? The intelligent god spirit of the spaceship sent a message to the Titan god race. The 6 Master God tiers of the Titan God race and the 4 Master God level experts of the affiliated races sneered. You actually dare to take the initiative to leave the High Continent to fight with us? Not bad, not bad. This is exactly what we want. Fighting outside the Higher Continent can also prevent me from accidentally injuring the Higher Continent's main body. This way, I can avoid violating the High Continent's agreement and save myself a lot of trouble. Furthermore, after taking down the common people's regal, we can also take over his complete Blazing Sun Empire. It's said that there are countless divine artifacts in the Blazing Sun Empire, and there are even Master God tier divine artifacts. With those divine artifacts, the strength of our Titan God race will definitely rise to another level. When the 6 Master God tiers of the Titan God race saw the Blazing Sun Empire's army taking the initiative to attack, they weren't shocked. Instead, they were delighted. All of them laughed loudly and began to discuss their gains after taking down the Blazing Sun Empire. When the Lord-level experts of the 4 subsidiary races saw this scene, they did not dare to enter and interrupt at all, let alone divide the spoils of war of the Blazing Sun Empire. Even though they were said to be Master God tiers and had a very high status in the Titan God race, they were still outsiders after all. Furthermore, they were outsiders from vassal races. These Master God tiers of the Titan God race looked polite on the surface, but they actually looked down on them in secret. There were even 2 Master God tiers among them who had relied on the resources of the Titan God race to advance, so they did not dare to say anything. Soon, the distance between the 2 sides was only about 10 million kilometers. At this distance, the cosmic warships of both sides stopped. They faced each other, and the atmosphere froze. At this moment, the voice of the Titan God clan's patriarch, Dis, resounded throughout the starry sky and reached the hearts of every soldier of the Blazing Sun Empire's army. Common people's regal. I am the patriarch of the Titans, Dis. I admire your courage to lead an army into battle. However, the gap between you and me is already very obvious. Surrender. You're going to lose. Your talent can be said to be the best in history. If you're willing to become a citizen of the Titans and serve the Titans, not only can I consider sparing your life, but I'll also confer you as the holy son of the Titans. Therefore, you can use the resources at your will. I can even contract the resources for you to become a Master God tier. How is it? As soon as he finished speaking, there was no reaction from the Blazing Sun Empire. The Master God tiers of the Titans looked at their patriarch Dis in surprise. Patriarch, are you really going to take in that common people's regal? A Master God tier of the Titan God race said with a dark expression. The number 1 genius of the Titans, Uriel, had died in his hands. Ever since this matter was known by the Titans, they had always regarded it as a great humiliation. During this period of time, they had been thinking about how to kill common people's regal to avenge their previous humiliation. They didn't expect their patriarch to persuade the other party to surrender before they even started fighting. It really caught them off guard. Dis did not speak. Instead, he looked at the silent Overlord's sacrifice to God. Overlord's sacrifice to God noticed his patriarch's gaze. After a second or two of silence, he said in a low voice, I understand what you mean, Patriarch. Patriarch, you're right. Common people's regal's gift is indeed astonishing. He's clearly not even a true God tier, but he already has the battle record of defeating a Master God tier. If such a gift becomes a citizen of the Titans and continues to fight for the position of Lord of all races as a Lord, he might turn into a Lord of all races for us in the future. At that time, not to mention comparable to top races like the original Spirit race, even surpassing them won't be an extravagant hope. Patriarch, just do it. However, I have a request. Shoot, Dis spoke. I want to take common people's regal as my disciple. Overlord's sacrifice to God smiled. As shortly as these words were spoken, all the Master God tiers' expressions were a little interesting. They even gazed at Overlord's sacrifice to God in disbelief. However, there were also many Master God tiers who cursed in their hearts for being shameless. Just by sacrificing a disciple, you want a fellow who has the potential to turn into the Lord of all races to become your disciple. This deal was too easy. It made them want to do it too. Dis's expression did not change when he heard that. After a while, he smiled. Okay, He agreed. Seeing that the patriarch had agreed, the other master god. Tiers of the Titan god race were all dejected and gave up. At the same time, he cursed in his heart. This fellow had profited from such a huge benefit, unwilling to accept this. However, even though they were unwilling, there was nothing they could do. Patriarch, look. What are they doing? At this moment, one of the master god tiers of the Titan god race, Monrose, suddenly pointed at the virtual screen in front of him with a gloomy expression. All the master god tier immediately gazed over. A massive number of soldiers, heroes, and even god spirits flew out of the Blazing Sun Empire's various spaceships. In less than a moment, a total of 3,000 trillion troops appeared around the universe ship and quickly formed. Zhou Zhou's main combat army now had a total of more than 5,800 trillion soldiers, more than 3 million god spirits, and more than 2,000 true god tiers. Now, more than 2,800 trillion soldiers, more than 2 million god spirits, and more than 1,000 true god tier had already followed the eternal mothership back to Cerulean planet. Therefore, the Blazing Sun Empire's army that stood tall in the starry sky only had an army of more than 3,000 trillion soldiers, more than 1 million god spirits, and more than 1,000 true god tiers. As for the army of the Titan god race and its affiliated races, they had more than 30,000 trillion soldiers, more than 20 million god spirits, more than 10,000 true god tiers, and 10 exalt gods. It was more than 10 times the number of soldiers in the Blazing Sun Empire. The two formed a stark contrast in the starry sky. It even felt like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Ha ha ha. Is that it? The Blazing Sun Empire, the number one of all races, is only SOSO. The Titan god race soldiers, god spirits, and even master god tiers chuckled and mocked. The difference between the two armies was too great. It was so big that he could not bear to look at it. This was one of the reasons why the Titan god race was so confident. If they did not have absolute confidence in winning, why would they come all the way here? Common people's regal. With such a huge difference in power, aren't you going to surrender? Are you really going to die before you can recognize the situation? In front of the army, a true god tier advanced grade Titan god race general stood at the front and dubbed out to the Blazing Sun Empire's army. Where did this little slut come from? How dare you talk to this emperor? This emperor has killed at least a few hundred true god tiers. What kind of pig are you? Zhou Wen's voice was filled with disdain and cold laughter. The Titan god race general's face was flushed red, and he felt extremely humiliated. He was a dignified true god tier of the Titan god race. This was the first time the enemy had used pigs as an analogy. Common people's regal, he said through gritted teeth. However, he did not dare to continue clamoring. This common people's regal had a battle record that surpassed master god tier. He didn't dare to continue provoking him. Common people's regal. What about me? Have you thought about it? This voice sounded. Zhou Wen flew to the front of the army. He was dressed in blood-red clothes and held the blood-colored sacred spear of Longinus in his hand. With the enhancement of his status as a regal, he looked cold and bloody. Do you think this place is suitable to be the burial ground of the Titan gods? Zhou Wen did not answer the other party's question. Instead, he asked coldly. Good, good, good. What a tough bone. Then we'll have to beat you into submission. This was not surprised by Zhou Wen's answer. As a regal, if he were to surrender with just a few words, he wouldn't be worthy of being a regal. How about we make a bet? Zhou Wen suddenly said. What bet? Tell me. Dis thought that victory was in his grasp, so he was not anxious at all. Instead, he asked calmly. If this emperor can lead an army and defeat you here, from now on, your Titan god race and your vassal races don't have to resist anymore after the battle. Just surrender and join this emperor's empire. If you defeat this emperor, you can name your conditions. How is it? Zhou Wen asked. The Titan god race was one of the top 10 powerful races among the high-level bloodline races. Its forces and subsidiary races were spread throughout the myriad worlds. If he could take it down in one battle, not only would he be able to save a lot of time and energy, but he would also be able to greatly increase the strength of his lord faction. On the other side, when Dis heard Zhou Wen's words, his blood-colored pupils narrowed slightly. Why was this guy so confident? Could it be that he has some trump card that I don't know about? Dis carefully recalled the information he had researched about the common people's regal and the blazing sun empire in the past few days and confirmed that he had done nothing wrong. He couldn't possibly suddenly become several times stronger overnight, right? Then he thought of the 30,000 trillion-odd troops in his hands, the massive number of god spirits and true god tiers, and the trump cards he had prepared long ago to deal with the strange methods of the common people's regal. With his army and trump cards in hand, he didn't think that he would lose to the other party at all. At the thought of this, he was finally relieved and felt that the common people's regal might be deliberately putting up a strong front to scare him away. It's a deal. Contract with the supreme will, Zhou said. At their level, the former god of contract was no longer qualified to make a contract for them and required them to abide by the contents of the contract. The former god of contract was no longer qualified to make a contract for them and required them to abide by the contents of the contract. Okay. Dis was also afraid that common people's regal would go back on his word, so after hearing Zhou Wen's request, he immediately agreed. Then, he grinned, but his smile was very cold. Attack. Destroy all the Blazing Sun Empire's armies. If anyone can take down the common people's regal, the Titans will provide him with all the resources for him to become a master god tier advanced grade in the future. He ordered. As soon as he finished speaking, all the soldiers, heroes, god spirits, true god tiers, and even master god tiers had a fiery glow in their eyes. They looked at Zhou Wen with greedy eyes. Even though they were also master god tier, most of them were elementary grade master gods and intermediate grade master gods. There were only 2 advanced grade master god tier master gods among the 10 supremacies. I am the patriarch of the Titans, Dis. The other was Uriel's teacher, the overlord's sacrifice to God. It was precisely because of this that Dis specially asked for the other party's opinion. The other 2 also had supreme statuses in the Titan god race. One was the patriarch, and the other was the deputy patriarch. If what Dis said was true, it meant that they would also have the same strength, power, and status as the overlord's sacrifice to God in the future. How could they not care? Kill. With the first shout, the Titan God race army was the first to fly towards the Blazing Sun Empire army. When Qi Xintian saw this scene, he also shouted the word kill. He split into billions of sword chi and took the lead to charge towards the Titan God race army. Then, more than 3,000 trillion soldiers, more than 1 million god spirits, and more than 1,000 true god tiers immediately followed. In the starry sky, usually, only superhumans above the yellow gold tier level could ignore the vacuum environment and fight in space. As for the soldiers below the yellow gold tier, they rode on their personal spacecraft and charged towards the Titan God's army to fight them. A vast number of yellow talisman Dao soldiers were at the front of the army, fighting with the Titan God race. Countless forbidden mages stood at the back and chanted forbidden spells silently, releasing forbidden spells at the Titan God's army. Kill. Under Zhou Zhou's orders, the 20 million final will guards no longer guarded their masters whose combat strength far exceeded theirs. Instead, they charged towards the Titan God race army with the army and killed them in the internal strife. As Divine Kingdom soldier types, their strength was equivalent to Zhou Zhou's. They had all reached the intermediate grade high-tier deity level and grasped the 2 combat laws, shattering and instant death. Fighting above their level was nothing to them. Even Titan life forms of high-level bloodlines would be injured and instant death upon contact with the final guards. Occasionally, there would be gods, or even true god tier who refused to believe in the supernatural. They wanted to destroy these high-tier deity-level final guards, but they were also easily destroyed by the law of shattering, destroying their weapons and armor, and depriving them of their lives with the law of instant death. On the other side, crush them. More than 5 million Divine Kingdom soldier types, the power heavenly gods, also followed the yellow talisman Dao soldiers into the Titan God race army. They were also Divine Kingdom soldier types. They grasped the terrifying nomological ability to break all techniques and create all techniques, as well as unparalleled physical strength. Although the Titan God race was also a top-notch race with maxed-out strength attributes and was not inferior to Behemoth, who was #1 in strength among all races, when facing the power Heavenly God, they actually suffered an inhuman suppression in terms of strength. Roar! There were more than 100 million Divine Kingdom soldier types, Holy Dragon Knights riding more than 100 million pure-blooded dragons. They flew towards the Titan God race army and fought with them. The Holy Dragon Knight could attack and defend at the same time. It could both attack from afar and engage in close combat. Its body was strong, and its spirit was invincible. They charged into the Titan God race army and could destroy an army of 10 billion. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou raised his hand and executed the 10,000 Spirit Saint. In the next second, a notification that exceeded his expectations appeared in front of him. Lord Talent notification. Your 10,000 Spirit Saint Lord Talent has been interfered with by an unknown treasure and is unable to produce any effect. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou frowned slightly. The 10,000 Spirit Saint actually lost its effect. Zhou Zhou frowned. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation ever since he obtained this Lord Talent. However, he relaxed his brows. The upper limit of the mythical tier Lord Talent was only Master God tier advanced grade. It was not invincible, and it was normal to encounter higher-level treasures and be restrained. It's most likely a Supreme God Realm technique. If that's the case, let's fight with our strength. Zhou Zhou looked at the two armies fighting with an indifferent expression. Even without the 10,000 Spirit Saint, he was also very confident in the army under his command. And so far, no enemy he encountered had forced his soldiers and god spirits to their limits. He was very much looking forward to how far this Titan God army could force his army to. Maybe it's good to lose. Zhou Zhou even had such a thought. Ever since the end of the Lord Arena, he had not felt the feeling of losing for a long time. It was not bad to experience it again. Continuing to win might not be a good thing. In any case, he still had a few battle resurrection scrolls. Even if the entire army was destroyed, they would all be revived with one battle resurrection scroll. He had never used these treasures that came from the Novice Lord test. At the same time, the Patriarch of the Titan Gods, Dis, saw the golden rib bone in his hand emit a golden glow before it dimmed. Upon seeing this, he immediately looked at his army. He couldn't help but laugh out loud seeing that his army was fine. The method that the common people's regal used to make the army rebel finally made me guard against it. He laughed out loud. The other Master God tiers were also pleasantly surprised when they heard this. That's great. In the past, common people's regal had almost always been successful with this move. Now, we finally know how to restrain the other party. The Patriarch is indeed the Patriarch. He can actually find such a supreme treasure and block the other party's strange methods. Patriarch, what treasure is this? The Master Gods discussed happily. In the end, they looked curiously at the golden rib in Dis' hand. When Dis saw this, he didn't avoid it. He pointed at the golden rib and said, "This is Regal Soul Heaven's rib. It can resist the effects of bewitching law skills. Even Lord Law skills can resist it. It can resist the effects of bewitching law skills. Even Lord Law skills can resist it. Heavenly Soul Regal. Could it be the Regal with the law of the Lord of Souls?" A Master God exclaimed. That's right. Dis nodded. When the Master Gods heard this, they started discussing in low voices. It said that at the peak of the Soul Heaven Regal realm, he only needs to transform his will to the Supreme Will realm to become a will-level existence. At that time, the Supreme will even handed over the reincarnation matters of the Supreme Great Cosmos to Regal Soul Sky to manage. That was why he had the reputation of Regal Samsara. Unfortunately, when the other party was fighting against the Illusionist clan, they were ambushed and killed by the experts of the Illusionist clan. Only their remains were snatched back by the will of the Netherworld. Later on, there was an internal strife in the Netherworld. Regal Soul Heaven's remains were divided into several parts and left behind in the heavens. I got a copy by chance. Dis briefly explained the origins of this golden rib. Then, he looked at the golden rib cherishingly. His eyes lit up as he said with a cherished expression, "This remains of Regal Soul Sky is comparable to a supreme God realm treasure." The Lord talent grasped by the common people's regal is only at the Master God tier advanced grade. Naturally, it can't break the effect of Supreme God Realm treasures. I see. All the Master God tier came to a realization. Then, they reluctantly retracted their gazes and continued to pay attention to the battlefield. However, their expressions soon turned gloomy. That was because they realized that even though the army they brought was 10 times larger than the other parties, from the performance on the battlefield, the other party's combat strength was not inferior to theirs at all. The soldiers of the Blazing Sun Empire were all super soldiers who fought against 10 or even 100 of them. It was the same even for god spirits. The master gods of the Titan gods looked at it for a long time and understood what was going on. Their soldiers are at least of the Empire tier soldier type, but their actual combat strength has already far exceeded that of the Empire tier soldiers. They are even about to catch up to the combat strength of the Divine Kingdom soldiers. We also have a Divine Kingdom soldier type, the Titan King, but compared to their Divine Kingdom soldier type, the difference is not small. They have 3 Divine Kingdom soldier types, especially the guards in grayish-white armor. They should be the guards of the common people's regal, the Final Will guards. I didn't expect these 20 million Final Will guards to all be high-tier deity, intermediate grade god spirits. In terms of the number of god spirits, the other party actually has more god spirits than the Titan gods. The common people's regal has only descended to the high continent for such a short period of time, and he has actually accumulated such a foundation. If we continue to let him grow, even if we attack him with all our might, we probably won't be able to do anything to him. It doesn't matter. At this moment, Dis spoke with a gloomy expression. So what if their individual combat strength is stronger than ours? So what if their number of god spirits is greater than the number of god spirits we brought? We have over 30 trillion soldiers. We still have more than 10,000 exalt gods and our 10 strongest master god tiers. No matter how powerful the other party is, they will still be destroyed by us. He stood up with a cold expression. Let's do it. Let's show the common people's regal a complete defeat since he is asking for it. I don't want him to be unconvinced after submitting to us. Okay. Even though the master gods were a little surprised to hear this, they still stood up one after another. I'll let that common people's regal know that the ones who decide victory on the battlefield aren't those weak low-level soldiers, but true top-notch experts. I haven't fought in a long time. Let me stretch my muscles. Hurry up and take down the common people's regal and his Blazing Sun Empire. I want to see how many divine artifacts there are in his empire. The master gods all laughed, feeling very relaxed. Dis didn't care. Then, under Dis' lead, they turned into 10 shocking streams of light and flew out of the cosmic battleship, arriving on the battlefield. Zhou Fight also saw this scene. Dis, he spoke, and his voice spread throughout the entire celestial battlefield. As Master God tiers, are you sure you want to violate the Supreme Agreement and participate in the battle? Aren't you afraid of being punished by the Supreme Will? Common People's Regal. Dis laughed and said, since we're already in front of you, and there's no reaction from the Supreme Agreement, doesn't that prove that our participation in the battle is in line with the Supreme Agreement's rules? Common People's Regal, you've been relying on your strength and realm that far exceeds the lords of the myriad races to suppress the Lord of all races. Now that you've been crushed by us, I wonder how you feel. Zhou Fight said nothing. He had a premonition that the Supreme Will must have wanted to sharpen him, which was why it allowed the various races to attack him.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.